His Royal Highness the Crown Prince and Prime Minister Prince Salman bin Hamad Al Khalifa chaired the weekly cabinet meeting at Qudaybiya Palace on the occasion of the royal order issued by His Majesty King Hamad bin Isa Al Khalifa to adjourn the first session of the sixth legislative term of the National Assembly. The cabinet commended the strength of cooperation and coordination held between the legislative and executive authorities and their role in advancing the kingdom's national development. His Royal Highness directed the concerned government authorities to retroactively disperse the monthly living allowance for retirees from January 2023 to June 2023, following the agreements between the legislative and executive authorities during a discussion on the draft law on the national budget for the 2023 to 2024 fiscal year. He commended the two authorities' coordination in serving the kingdom and its citizens, as well as the efforts of the public sector and the specialized committees of the Shura and Representatives Council throughout the draft law budget decisions. His Royal Highness also directed the concerned authorities to pay disbursement on living allowance for government employees and people with disabilities starting from June 2023 in accordance with the new agreements between the legislative and executive authorities. The cabinet congratulated the Bahraini graduates who completed the school year, thanking parents, teachers and administrators at the Ministry of Education for their contributions to these educational successes. On the occasion of World Environment Day, the cabinet emphasized the kingdom's commitment to adopt more innovative initiatives, programs and solutions that enhance environmental security. In this regard, His Royal Highness announced an increase in mangrove plantation for 2023 from 230,000 to 460,000 trees. This reflects the kingdom's commitment to the 26th UN Framework Convention on Climate Change Goals, which includes a target to quadruple mangrove coverage by 2035. The cabinet then expressed its condolences to the Indian government and people following the collision of 3 trains in the Balasore district of Odisha state in eastern India, and wished the wounded a speedy recovery. The cabinet discussed and approved the following memorandums during the meeting. A memorandum submitted by the Ministerial Committee for Legal and Legislative Affairs on a draft decision to amend Article 2 of the decision to establish and form the Higher Committee for the Bahrain International Air Show. A memorandum submitted by the Minister of Sustainable Development on the second voluntary national review outlining Bahrain's progress in the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development Goals. A memorandum submitted by the Ministerial Committee for Legal and Legislative Affairs on the government's response to 4 proposals submitted by the Council of Representatives. The Cabinet reviewed a memorandum submitted by the Ministerial Committee for Financial and Economic Affairs and Fiscal Balance regarding the requirement guide on commercial activities as part of the initiatives aimed at developing government services for business owners. In addition, the government noted the following ministerial reports. On behalf of His Majesty the King, the Deputy Prime Minister's attendance and participation at the inauguration of the re-election of President of Turkey, the participation in the 49th session of the Arab Labour Conference, the participation in the 76th World Health Assembly and in the session of the WHO Executive Board, the outcomes of Bahrain's participation in the International Reading Skills Test in the Arab region, the international accreditation obtained by the Bahrain Teachers College from the National Council for Accreditation of Teacher Education in the USA, the participation in the closing ceremony of the Formula 1 in Schools event in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, the external participations of the ministers and the visits of foreign delegations to Bahrain.